Good morning, and welcome back to Daily Dhamma, a letter to our children. Today is March 20th, and our reading is Commitment. When it comes to bacon and eggs, the chicken is involved, but the pig is committed. The same principle applies to managing resources and making decisions. We spend our own money much more wisely than someone else's, and we're a lot more careful about decisions that will directly affect us than we are about deciding for someone else. This is why central planning and communal ownership fail. Milton Friedman wrote a number of wonderful books, but one of our favorite is Free to Choose, a personal statement that he wrote with his wife, Rose. Anyway, one of the best parts in there is an analysis of cradle-to-grave welfare spending, and he's got a rubric. On one side is whose money is it, and on the other side is on whom is it spent. So there are four parts to this chart. There's whose money is it, yours or someone else's, and then on whom is it spent, and there's you or someone else. So we've got your money and you're spending it on you, your money and you're spending it on someone else's money and you're spending it on you, or someone else's money and you're spending it on someone else. And you can take a wild guess how that works out. The incentives for bureaucrats who are running welfare programs or military procurement programs or just about anything using the public dime have a built-in incentive to get the best stuff they can possibly get, and price is no object. And yet those same people, when they're shopping for themselves, employ a level of caution and discernment that the rest of us can only hope they would apply or wish that they would apply to their public functions. Anyway, we need to exercise a lot of caution when we're spending somebody else's money or when we're making rules that are going to impact on other people's families and especially their children. And so this is a big deal in education as well. Milton Friedman was Thomas Sowell's dissertation supervisor at the University of Chicago, and so perhaps it's no surprise that Sowell would have as three main questions for public policy. Number one, this is a good idea compared to what? Number two, at what cost? And number three, what solid data do you have? Good questions. Thomas Sowell, C.S. Lewis, and Edmund Burke all warned about the folly of third-party decisions, especially because they don't suffer any consequences if those decisions are wrong. The work of all three of these giants is linked by their observation that newly invented values pushed by innovators suffer from a fatal flaw. In each case, a small group of people is seeking to substitute its own freshly minted visions, preferences, predilections, and ideas for an established order millennia old. These things are established on the basis of the experience of billions and billions of people, and there are at least four difficulties with this. First, the innovations are based on false premises, untested axioms. In all cases, the innovators, so-called innovators, worship man, not God. They violate God's law and human nature. They have faith in utopia, believe people can and should be molded to their specifications, and are disdainful to history. Second, the tiny number of innovators involved makes their task impossible. However intelligent they might be individually, they cannot come close to matching the collective experience and wisdom of the many generations who have tested ideas by trial and error. Third, the intellectuals operate in a bubble. They're making decisions for which they pay no price if they're wrong. It's an open loop. It just flops around. They can make mistakes until somebody else's ears bleed, and they don't care because it's not their ears. And finally, not even intellectuals and politicians can repeal the law of unintended consequences. This is going to be a theme throughout this book. Be careful about those innovators, man. So happy trails to you until we meet again.